Welcome to the deep dive. You give us the notes, the data, the research, and, well, our job is to boil it all down to the core knowledge you actually need.
Exactly.
So today we're wading into something really practical, kind of the day-to-day grind of managing a system.
Yeah.
We're looking at fish keeping, outdoor pond maintenance, actually, specifically fighting off a really stubborn invader, filamentous algae.
Yeah, and this is interesting because this whole deep dive comes from one person's detailed notes, like their personal log of dealing with this algae bloom across several small outdoor ponds or water features.
Okay.
And what's great about these notes is that they kind of skip the usual, what species is it exactly? They just wanted effective, non-chemical ways to get things under control. Fast.
Right, like shortcuts.
Yeah.
And these notes, titled Notes on Fish Keeping, Part 147, clearly, they've been at this a while. They're just fantastic.
Yeah.
They show that sometimes the best solution is, well, incredibly simple, almost non-obvious. We're going to look at how they tackle the bloom with a surprising mechanical trick, and maybe even more importantly, how they figured out why it was spreading.
Okay.
So let's unpack that initial problem. The notes start right off with this thick, stringy, filamentous algae bloom just taking over.
Yeah, the classic green hair algae look.
Exactly. And the author even says they were kind of stuck on identifying it. Was it Spirogyra? The really fine, silky stuff.
Or maybe Cladophora, which is much tougher, more like felt or cotton.
Right.
And, this is often where people get bogged down. They think, I have to know the genus before I can do anything.
Yeah, paralysis by analysis.
Exactly. But the author here, they realize something pretty smart. Even though Spirogyra feels slimy and Cladophora is coarse, the first step isn't perfect ID.
No.
No. It's finding a simple physical removal technique that, works on either of them. Something scalable you can do right now.
Okay, like triage. You got to stop the bleeding first. Get the bulk of it out before you worry about the finer points.
Precisely. And this leads to the big aha moment in the notes, the mechanical fix.
Okay, I'm ready. What was it? Some high-tech vacuum.
Not quite. It was a chopstick.
A chopstick.
Yeah.
Seriously. A wooden chopstick.
A simple wooden chopstick. The notes detail it perfectly. You stick it into the massive algae and you just twist.
Twist.
Yeah, like spaghetti on a fork. The long strands of the algae just wrap themselves around the chopstick.
Oh, I can picture that.
And it pulls out a nice, dense clump, making it super easy to harvest without, stirring up all the sediment and making a bigger mess.
Okay, I have to push back a little, though. That sounds neat for a small tank, maybe. But multiple outdoor ponds, even small ones, isn't that incredibly time-consuming?
Yeah.
Does it really scale up?
That's a fair point. And the notes actually address that. They found that after they got the initial really heavy bloom under control using this method,
Right.
the ongoing maintenance with the chopstick was actually really quick, like a 5-minute job per pond, maybe. And it did double duty. It removed algae, yes, but it also acted as a quick check. If you pull out a big wad, maybe check your water parameters again. It changed it from a huge cleanup job to just ongoing light management.
I like that. A practical answer.
Yeah.
And staying practical,
Yeah.
what about all that algae they pulled out? Just
Yeah.
trash it.
No, this is another neat part. The notes are clear that algae isn't waste.
Oh.
It's packed with the nutrients it's soaked up from the pond water, right? Nitrates, phosphates.
Very things causing the bloom in the first place.
Exactly. So instead of throwing it away, they just tossed it around their garden plants. It acts as a pretty decent slow-release fertilizer.
Okay, that's brilliant. Closing the loop, the problem becomes a solution, or at least a resource.
Precisely. Turning a nuisance into a nutrient.
Love it. But, okay,
Yeah.
as great as the chopstick is, they realized it was just treating the symptom, right? Because the notes then shift focus. They noticed the algae starting to pop up in their other previously clean ponds.
Yep. And that's the next big question. How did it spread? It seemed contained, but suddenly it wasn't.
Time for some detective work.
And their hypothesis, based on their observations, pointed to something really common, almost mundane. Cross-contamination.
Oh,
From using the same fish net in all the ponds.
the fish net. Oh, man. But what were they doing with it?
Something totally routine and actually, good practice usually. They were scooping out leftover fish pellets from the pond that had the algae.
Right, to keep the water clean.
Yeah, but then they were taking that same net without rinsing it or anything and using it for a little task, maybe scooping a leaf or checking something in the clean ponds.
Wow. So the tool meant for cleaning was actually spreading the problem.
Exactly that. Microscopic algae spores, maybe tiny fragments, just hitching a ride on the net mesh. They get transferred to the clean pond. find some nutrients, light, and boom, new algae colony starts.
That's such a crucial takeaway for anyone listening who manages, well, multiple anything. Tanks, ponds, even maybe terrariums or plant pots.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We worry about new fish or rainwater, but often the contamination vector is us, our own tools, that simple operational oversight.
Yeah.
You might be careful about big things, but that one shared net, or maybe tweezers or a gravel vac, if it touches the problem area, then the clean area.
That's your weak link. You need a decontamination step in between. Every time.
Every single time. Or dedicated tools for each system, ideally.
A tiny hitchhiker on the net. Okay, so they've got the chopstick for immediate removal, and they figured out the net is spreading it. What's the go-forward plan in the notes?
Well, the immediate strategy is basically triage, like we said. Keep up with regular water changes. Keep using the chopstick method diligently to keep the biomass down.
Right, keep it contained.
Yeah, the notes mention the infestation is still pretty localized. Most of the water is clear. So step 1 is stabilize. Stop the spread, which means new net protocols, and keep manually removing the algae.
Okay, stabilize first. Then what? Just keep chopsticking forever.
Yeah, well, that leads to the next phase discussed, looking into biological control.
Bringing in the natural predators.
Exactly. Moving from constant hands-on work to a more integrated, sustainable system.
Yeah.
Using nature to help out.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So what biological agents were they considering? Did the notes mention specific species?
They did. After some research, they zeroed in on 2 fish known for eating filamentous algae. 2 specific candidates, Mollies and Siamese Algae Eaters.
Okay, Mollies and SAEs. Why those two? Let's start with Mollies. What's their deal?
Mollies are, well, they're great little grazers, pretty hardy, they breed easily, which is key for a self-sustaining population.
Right.
And importantly, they do eat softer algae types and will graze on filamentous stuff, especially if you have enough of them. They're kind of the general cleanup crew, good for warmer, maybe more sheltered outdoor ponds.
Okay, so Mollies are like the volume workers, constantly grazing, keeping things generally tidy. What about the Siamese Algae Eaters, the SAEs? They have a reputation in the hobby.
They absolutely do. The SAE, Cross-contamination siamensis, is kind of the specialist, the heavy artillery for this specific problem.
How so?
Because unlike a lot of other fish called algae eaters, true SAEs are famous for eating that tough, stringy, thread-like filamentous algae, potentially the Cladophora type that most other fish ignore.
So they target the exact problem algae.
Yes. And another big plus is they usually leave ornamental plants alone. They focus on the nuisance algae. So they're the targeted weapon for this fight.
That's a really important distinction. You're not just chucking in any algae eater. You've got the Mollies for general upkeep and the SAEs as like specialists for the really tough stuff.
Exactly. It shows a layered approach. You need both types of control, really.
Which brings us back to the chopstick.
Right. The mechanical control of the chopstick is your immediate reactive tool. It saves you today.
It's the bulk out.
Yeah. Then the biological control, the Mollies and SAEs, that's your long-term preventative strategy. It's about creating a balanced mini ecosystem where the algae gets eaten before it becomes a problem. You really need both for effective, sustainable management, the physical removal, and the integrated biological approach working together.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, fantastic. So let's wrap this up. Key nuggets for you, the listener, from these notes.
Well, first, that surprisingly effective chopstick technique for pulling out stringy algae. Don't knock it till you try it.
Definitely trying that.
Second,
the critical, maybe painful realization that the shared fish net was the vector for cross-contamination. Check your tools.
super important. And third, the idea of using a combination of biological controls, like the generalist Mollies and the specialist Siamese Algae Eaters, for long-term prevention.
Yeah, matching the tool to the specific job.
This whole process, documented in these notes, it just really highlights how sometimes the simplest things, a chopstick, a net, have the biggest impact in managing a complex system, for better or for worse.
It's often not the complicated chemistry, but the simple mechanics we overlook.
Precisely.
And that leads perfectly into our final thought for you to chew on. Thinking about your own world, whatever systems you manage, maybe it's plants, maybe it's your kitchen workflow, maybe something technical like servers. What simple, everyday tool or routine practice might actually be undermining your efforts? What might be inadvertently spreading problems while you're focused on, just trying to keep things clean and running smoothly?
Yeah. Take a look at those routine actions and tools. The answer might surprise you.